I'm working on it here, trying to see what's going on. Got it. Reloading.
Hey, Ben.
How's it going?
Okay. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm trying to get this live on the on Facebook. So,
It's always a challenge, isn't it?
well, it was fine until they decided to change their. They changed, their whole thing. So it's also hopefully going out to YouTube as well. All right, streaming software. I got it. It's automatically going to go live at 3 o'clock. So let's see what happens. And then I guess I can look and see if it's making its way to YouTube as well. I have found there's a solution for all of these technical problems, and it's almost always money. Automatically
Yeah, I
go live
believe
at
it.
3
It's
o'clock.
a
So
funny world
let's
that way,
see what
isn't it?
happens, right? And then I guess I can look and see if it's making its way to YouTube as well. Now the catch that happened I have found there's a solution for all of these technical problems, and it's almost
people
always
can hear
money.
me, but not other people.
Automatically,
Yeah, I
go live
believe
at
it.
3
It's
o'clock.
a
So
funny world that
let's
way,
see
isn't
what
it?
happens. But it is working now. At least on YouTube, I can hear you and let's see. We'll test
So
this.
people
out.
can hear
money.
me, but not
Good.
other people.
Getting closer.
Automatically
Yeah, I
go
believe
live
it.
at 3
It's
o'clock.
a
So
funny world
let's
that way,
see
isn't
what
it?
happens. But it is working now. At least on YouTube, I can hear you and let's see. We'll test this.
People
out.
can hear
money.
me, but not.
We are live in Facebook. It did it automatically, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no kidding. I've
Yeah.
had several people wanting to see, for instance, I think this morning I had someone very interested in the for instance,
Sniffer.
product. And I said, boy, you go back into Facebook and watch that demo that Kai did. And to me, that was a extremely valuable. I learned things from it, and I've had a sniffer for some time. But just reaffirming the value of it from the person that creates it. So
Yeah, for sure. It's I'm wondering if it was this one where I couldn't hear you. Say something for me.
it's a chance to learn something in this industry. I talk a lot about the presentation Bruno did at the Midwest Conference. Uh, so all these things are valuable. I have had a lot of comments from people saying, hey, you know, thanks for doing that. I can pick up something once in a while from a lot of people. From a lot of people. Kai's a good example of we're going to try as time goes. We've already been discussing, you and I, Ben, about guest speakers and different information that we can include. I've got a couple different things in mind that I think will help a lot of people, and I think you do also. So we'll keep working on it as long as it seems like people are interested, and the idea is definitely successful in terms of participation. So,
For sure. Well, it looks like speaking of participation, Kyle's in here, Jim's in here.
good.
Looks like Jim might be driving, so be careful, Jim. Uh, it's always an interesting when I throw out the topic of something like goal setting or it's interesting to see who shows up. If we're talking about the sniffer device, we'll have 100 people show up because we do like playing with fun toys. So that's an example of what we know what people want. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's about as fun as it gets.
yeah,
Sure.
I'm just sending out a quick message to everyone that we're live. There we go. Perfect.
I,
Well, we'll give another minute or so to see if anybody else is jumping on. Kyle, how are you doing this week?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing good. How's the weather down there? Is it crazy windy and storms?
No, it's hot, sunny, and calm.
It's good.
I think it's like almost 90 degrees today here.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal temperature for my pool this afternoon. 90 degrees.
Yeah. I never liked that kind of weather, though. I ended up putting my own pool in. And by the way, guys, what a challenge that was to do your own in-ground pool. But I've always assumed I could do anything. And therefore, that's half the battle is thinking you can do it.
Yeah, I do tell stories about my friend David, who just looked over and said, "I want one over there," and got the backhoe out and just started putting a hole in. Got online and found the biggest one he could order online, and I'm in a bunch of different pool groups on Facebook, and people are always asking, "Well, how much does it cost to put a pool in?" And I go, "Well, do you own a backhoe? Do you know where your utilities are?" And I did see somebody in the group say, "If you don't hit utilities, are you even digging?" So
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I was building some horse fence last week. Won't get off topic too long, but I was building some horse fence, and it was actually my wife and I's 40th wedding anniversary, and here we are building fence on our anniversary day. And on the day of our anniversary, she wanted to put a post at 8 feet from the corner, and I knew I had a water line going through there to hydrant in the pasture. And I said, that's a little too close. That scares me to go that close. I'd rather go 20 feet. And anyway, we compromised on 12 feet. And the auger of my post hole landed exactly in the middle of a 3/4 inch water line and ruptured it in the middle of a 3/4. Well, that's what you get for your 40th anniversary. You compromise. That's between 20 and 8 down to 12, and you hit that water line so exact in the middle, and you couldn't have done better if you would have x-rayed. So we had to laugh about that all day. We were lucky to get somebody there to repair it the same day, but we had to laugh about it at least the next day, where here we compromised on our 40th wedding anniversary, and that compromise ended up rupturing the water line. You got actually a 1-inch water line going through 5 acres of pasture, and you just happen to hit it dead on. So there you go. That's what 40 years of marriage does. You get a little out of sync, I guess.
You're taking that marriage license for a test drive on with that.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding.
Sue is up for sainthood.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a handful of people on. We got a few people over in the in our Facebook group that are watching. So I hope everybody's doing good and things are treating you well for the week. David is wanted a few minutes up top here to talk about some new stuff going on. So if you want to do your show and tell, maybe.
Yeah, well, sure. Ben's got some interesting stuff, so I'm going to get this over with so I don't take up too much time. But I've had several people ask me about access ports and trying to find a cheaper solution. there are 2 states that I believe I know of that are requiring an access port that is toolless, caulkless, something that the consumer can really use instead of something that's held down by a bunch of caulk and screws that's virtually worthless. So there's a 3rd state coming on with that concept. So now we're close to having 3 states that are requiring a toolless, so to speak, access port for a sump lid, so people can examine the workings of their sump uh, uh, easily and anytime they want. And you guys have heard me talk, and you ladies have heard me talk about how I sold my whole business for 25 years that way. I was installing these things from day one. I carried it under my armpit to every presentation, to every home I went into. I used it as a huge sales tool, build a business on it. So I'm a fan of it, but I do agree. Let's find a way to do it for less money. So we've been working on that, and we've got it priced. We've got it going up for sale starting Sunday, but there's 2 different sizes. This being what we call, it's a 4-inch hole, but a 3-inch product. But this one is, see if I can get it so you can read it. This one meets the minimum requirements of the states, and the national code now requires a access port. Now it doesn't have specific legislation as far as the type, but anyway, they do require a minimum 4-inch hole. So this is the minimum one, and then I'm a big fan of a little larger hole. So this is the one that requires a 5-inch hole with a 4-inch inner circle. So these 2 are removable. They have rubber gaskets, very easy to remove and use. But what we've done is create something, number one, that is marked. So the consumer, the neighbor, the plumber, whoever's standing over that sump lid during the failure, that usually happens, we all go through that if we've owned a home long enough, at least they can read this and say, okay, removable for inspection, reinstall after use. So we thought that adding that description would help. And we've got these things going on sale Monday. Ben and I are going to take pictures of them, get them on our internet, but we do have them produced, going on sale. The smaller one that takes a 4-inch hole is $10.50. The larger one that takes a 5-inch hole is $11.50. And there is going to be a bulk discount. I think there's going to be 36 to a case. We'll make our bulk discount for case quantities. So anybody interested in trying a couple of these, as I said, there's 2 states I believe that already require sort of a toolless or an easy to access access port, and a 3rd one coming on board. So anybody wants to try them for that kind of money, what, $10.50? You ought to buy a couple of them and try them and see if it suits your needs, or if you get your own ideas, make your own. Sometimes some of the things I sell, people will buy them and say, now it gives me an idea, I'll make my own. So be it. I made a lot of my own when I was in the mitigation business. However, the busier I got, the more sense it made to buy it. So that's all I needed to say, that I do have the new products being sold starting Monday.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, we'll get that on the website for you guys to pick that up if you're putting your orders in online, for sure. So what I kind of jumped over today, anybody got anything exciting going on? Any big wins in their business, things that they're been working towards? Uncomfortable silence. I'll make one of you. Ron's in.
Well, I had a quick question on your sump pump thing. So I had a guy call me. He's putting in a sump pump, and he said, "Where do I need to put the makeup air pipe from the sump pump to the exterior, or can I do makeup air right from the crawl space?" Do you put makeup air pipes in?
I'm not even sure. I'm trying to think of what he even means by that.
He thinks he was told by, I think, the Home Depot guy, that the sump pump is going to pull the water out of the pit. And when the water leaves the pit, air needs to return. You got to have makeup air. So he needs to run a second pipe out. Never seen this, never heard of it.
Well, what I think Home Depot is trying to tell him, I can tell you Zoller sumps are a good example, but a lot of them, and I agree, towards the bottom of the discharge pipe on a sump, we drill actually a 3/16 hole, an eighth or 3/16 hole at an upwards angle so that never can get airlocked. So in other words, it's real. I think it's important and it's a real good idea. We'll take that eighth inch or 3/16 drill bit about 2 inches up the PVC pipe from the connection to the sump, and we drill uphill so that when it discharges, you've got a pretty tough spray coming out of that little bitty hole. And if you drill it this way, it sprays up and hits your lid.
Yeah.
It's that powerful. So we always drilled at a little bit of an angle so it sprays down and hits the bottom of the sump basin. But there are a lot of sumps, and as I say, the most popular sump in my area is Zoller. And Zoller has it right in their instructions. You must drill that hole to prevent airlock. So maybe that's what the guy from Home Depot was saying. But it's a great question because I think, I'm guilty, and a lot of us are guilty about not reading directions good enough. But if you read the directions on the sump that you put in, it may tell you that. I know at least two brands that do, one of them being Zoller, but I know two brands that tell you you've got to have that hole to prevent airlock.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And it may answer the question that was sort of misstated by the person at Home Depot.
Yeah, I told him as far as I was concerned, there's more air coming out of the earth and you know what to do with. So I don't think you need to put makeup air in. I think it's going to find its own air. It's not that kind of a pump,
Yeah.
So
that pressure relief little bitty hole could be misconstrued as makeup air.
yeah, that's true.
Sure. Boy, I love the questions we get though, because I think that this is another one of those little things where some of us are going to go back home and say, you know what, I'm going to pull out the directions to a sump pumper. I'm going to pull them up online. Nowadays, it doesn't have to be paper for sure. I'm going to pull them up online and see what Dave was saying. Well, if Dave was right, then I'm happy as I can be that someone asked the question, so we all learn that, hey, maybe we better start doing this.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Cool. Ron, were you chiming in, or were you? I thought you might about to say something, but maybe not.
He's working on estimates, typing on a computer.
Oh, somebody's making money. All right, good. I sat through my Zoom call yesterday in one of my mastermind groups, and I did about 16 months worth of accountant transactions, and so it was a great call for me. I got through all my. It's like, as long as nobody asks me to talk, I'm fine. So every once in a while you hear your name and you smile. Yeah, huh? So, anybody have any other questions or things that we've got up top here? I'm not seeing anything in the Facebook group or on YouTube right now. So, well, we'll jump into our presentation for today. This was a challenge that I got a couple days ago, or a week or so ago, in my mastermind group, and with a bunch of other agency owners, and we were just talking about goal setting and things that, if you're running a business and you're, if you've got things that you want to change in the way you do things and how you want to get there. We start talking about what are the things that need to happen. And so for some of you, this is just absolutely no-brainer stuff. Some of you, if you're like me, you just need the motivation and you need the kick in the tail to make some changes in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so I hope you'll see some benefit to it as we go through. Number one thing is, if we're going to talk about goal setting in your life, in your business, in being a parent, being a spouse, in a relationship, whatever that thing is, and that you want to do, we've got to define real goals, like define them. And it can't just be, blanket statements like, oh, hey, I just want to grow my business, or I just want to, do more jobs. I want to make more money, or I want to have more free time, or I want to take vacations, or I want to lose weight, or I want to cut expenses, right? These are too broad. They're too vague. They're things, obviously it's great, but our goal is that we want to choose smart goals. We want to choose, and we want to make them, SMART is obviously an acronym. We want it to be specific. We want it to be measurable. We want it to be attainable. So it's something that can actually happen. Say, I want to lose 100 pounds before the end of June, right? You're going to have to lose a couple of limbs for that to happen. And so it needs to be relevant to, to your life and to, what you've got going on. And obviously it has to have a time associated with it. So if you're going to, set out to make some goals, it needs to be these things in order for it to actually be beneficial for you and something that you can work towards. And so when we're looking at it, we're going, okay, well, can we measure these goals? This is probably the biggest thing. So examples, if we take those things earlier, you say, okay, I want to grow. Well, maybe your actual measurement is, I want to add 2 more teams. I want to send 2 more trucks out. I want to be doing, I've got 1 truck now, or I've got 2 trucks now. I want to double my size. I want to consistently have, 4 trucks out in a day. I want to be doing, or maybe it's, we're consistently doing, 5 mitigations a week, and we want it to be 10, right? So now, again, when we're talking about, is this an attainable goal? You can't say, I want to go from 5 to 10 if you're maxed out on your infrastructure to do 5. So we got to talk about what it takes to be able to do 10. And that's also part of that. Okay, well, I want it to be, maybe the answer is, I want to train, my head foreman so that he can go one way and I can go another way. And now we've got 2 teams out. But you also have to have all those things inside of there. Like, I've got to make sure that I've got, the equipment needed. I've got the people hired. I've got, so whatever that may be. So we want to have some specific growth measurements that we're looking for. So instead of just saying, I want to do more jobs, maybe your measurement is, I want to add 30% year over year. Or maybe I want to grow by 50%, whatever that number is. And then we have to go back and say, okay, what is it going to take to do that? And that this may be a really easy goal to set for a lot of your businesses, where you guys are done by 1 o'clock every day, and you know that you could fit in another job, right? Or you are working 3 full days a week and you've got 2 full days that are open, right? So now we know, okay, if I've got 2 days open a week, that sounds like I've got 40% of my week that I could add. So your measurement, your goal could be, hey, I could add 40% if I could just be busy every single day, right? So that's something to look for. So instead of just saying, I want to make more money, okay, well, I want to increase my gross sales by 50%, or I want to increase my gross sales by 20%, or I want to go 100%. I want to double in size. So let's put actual dollar amounts, actual figures down, instead of just saying an arbitrary, I want to make more money. Hey, I want to have more free time. Okay, maybe the goal is that you're working 40 Saturdays out of the year and you want to cut that back. So now your goal is, I'm only going to work 20 Saturdays. Does that mean that you are spending longer Monday through Friday out on jobs? Does that mean that if having more free time is the goal, does it mean that you can hire a team that works those Saturday jobs? That may mean a decrease in your, that may be a decrease in your income, but that may mean you get more free time. And so what is that goal? I had a job for 20 years where I was working every single Saturday. And so, I joke around about how, my wife and I didn't have a ton of friends because, that's when the barbecues happen. That's when people are getting together. That's when the Little League games were. And I missed all that for almost 20 years. And so moving myself into a business where I can work, Monday through Friday, and I can work on Saturday if I'm bored, right? Or I can work in the middle of the night if I'm bored, but it means that I have those. And so, during COVID, my wife and I bought a house that has a 20 by 40 pool in it. And we set up a 20-foot video screen, and every Saturday night we're making up for lost time, and we have, 20 of our friends and their kids over every single Saturday. Our friends just know on Saturday at 5:00, come over here and bring food, and then at 8:00 we watch a movie on a gigantic screen because I'm, an AV nut too, so I've got speakers and surround and all that stuff. And so we kind of have the party house. We brought the party to us. But if I was still working that other job, that wouldn't be an option. So you got to say, okay, what are the things I'm going to do that if I just want to have more free time, what is that? So I want to take more vacations. All right, that's simple. Put it on the calendar. You can't just say, well, I want to take more vacations. You can say the second week of June every year, I'm going to go here. I'm going to take a week in December, or I'm going to go somewhere. Maybe you want to take, international vacations, and you're saying, okay, well, that may mean I need to make sure that I am setting aside $500 a month in a vacation fund so that my wife and I have a $6,000 budget once a year to go on that vacation. So if you're going to have that goal, you got to set that as on the schedule and have that be something that's obtainable. I want to lose weight. Cool. How much and what time? Is it obtainable? Is it something that's measurable? Is it, can you do it in a certain amount of time? So we're going to put those numbers down and say, I'm going to lose 5 pounds a month for the next 10 months. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. That's obtainable. If you say I want to lose 50 pounds in 1 month, it's not, unless you're losing, half of your body, or some of us a quarter or an eighth of our body. So now we're looking at cutting expenses. What does that mean? Okay, I want to have more money in my pocket. Does that mean I want to cut per job? Does that mean I'm going to let one of my guys go and I'm going to work harder so I have more money in my pocket? Maybe you are spending, you're paying for Angie's Leads or Home Advisor, or you're paying for Google Ads, and you're spending $150 or $200 or $300 or $500 per lead. And that is an expense that's super expensive for you. So we're going to go, okay, well, how am I going to cut expenses and put more money in my pocket? So these are some of the examples of things that we can do. So some other ones that I'm just thinking about, just in our business, what are the things that, that we can improve? How about spending less time on each job, right? So that has the fringe benefit of being able to do more jobs in a day. But we're going to say, okay, well, how do we get to the goal of taking, if you have a house where you're doing this by yourself and you're going to be in and out of there in 4 hours or 6 hours, obviously, when David's team showed up at my house, they had 4 guys. And they bust out of the back of the truck like a SWAT team. One guy goes in, starts core drilling. One guy gets up on the roof. One guy starts doing pipe. And one guy just goes around and yells at everybody. No, that guy is building the fan, right? So you've got one person doing each of those jobs. And that means that job that could take one guy 4 to 6 hours, they're knocking out in 90 minutes, right? And so now it's 90 minutes half hour to clean up and get to the next place, they're able to do 2 or 3, no-brainer mitigations in a day with one team. And so that has the fringe benefit of more jobs means more reviews and more people out there who are telling their friends and their family and their neighbors about you. So it's one thing if you're like, oh, well, I'm fine. I'm doing 1 a day. That's where I want to be, or I'm doing 2 a day. That's where I want to be. That's cool. But you're going to struggle with, we all know that these homes need to be mitigated. And so the more people that can know about this, learn about it. And so if another competitor comes in and they are, they go in and they go strong and they've got teams and they've got trucks and they're ready to go, that market share is there. So if you want it, it's out there for the taking. And having more reviews on your Google business page, on your website, on Facebook, and just having more people that are talking about you, that is a way of having another one of your goals might be to grow. And so that's something, just spending less time on each job means more jobs. Maybe we talked about this. Maybe I want to increase the number of reviews. Maybe you're doing fine with where you're at and you're saying, hey, I know how important reviews are. They're one of the number one ranking factors in ranking your business on Google. So having more reviews, I'm going to spend time with the homeowner and I'm going to smile and show them their system and explain it. I'm going to take time with them. And at the end, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to ask for that review. So I'm going to say, hey, this really matters to me. If you could, snap a picture of your system and post it on Facebook, this is really important. So that is something that, we want to make sure that, that it should be on your list of goals of things that you should be doing. For some of you, maybe you just need to answer your leads faster, right? So maybe you're losing business that you're not answering your leads fast enough. And so, your website says, we will get back to you in 2 to 3 days. Sorry, we live in an Amazon Prime generation, and if I don't hear from you in an hour, I've already called somebody else. And so I will call around, I will deal with somebody else because I am not waiting for you. So how do we meet this goal, right? There's a bunch of ways that we can meet this goal. One of which may be that you hire an answering service. Maybe you have someone who is literally just answering a virtual assistant who answers that phone and says, hey, they're not available right now. Let me get some information from you. Hey, tell me a little bit more about your basement. Did you have these are not hard questions that a virtual assistant could ask, right? Have you had a radon test? Where's your house? How, do you know the square footage? Just some things that, that you could have somebody that's pleasant and charming could answer and ask those questions. I'm going to look on the technical side of answering leads faster. So the people that work with me that I'm actively working with in my agency, we have software where the second the lead comes in, it's texting you. And so it's if it's a fill out a form lead, it sends a text to you so that you see that right away instead of the next time that you check your email. And so we all get tons of email and tons of spam. It's going to have those details right in that text message, so you're going to see that right away, and that's going to allow you to get it. One of the things we do in our software is we actually can round robin the phones. So maybe it rings to you, and if you can't answer it, then it goes to a virtual assistant, and the virtual assistant answer it. And if maybe they can't answer it, it goes to your friend who is really funny. I'm willing to get anybody on the phone so that person has someone to talk to. That and that's on the phone calls, because that is somebody who took the time to pick up their phone and call. They want to talk to someone right now. This is when they are available. They may not be available in 10 minutes. I may be looking at this going, hey, it's 3:30 and I got to go pick up my kid from school at 3:45. I got 10 minutes to make a phone call and schedule a radon mitigation. I don't care how much it is. the only thing that we can sell is time, and that is something that you take away from someone when you don't answer their phone. So, and when somebody answers, it maybe the lead, we have some type of follow-up email that's generated when they send in the form, right? So there's a bunch of things that we can do to improve how fast you answer the leads and how fast you're able to get to, in the same one is how fast are you getting a quote? How fast are you able to schedule, right? So if more jobs, I don't want to wait 3 weeks. I was just told that this radon thing is going to kill me today. Like I'm afraid to sleep in my house because I have a radon level of 4.2, and I'm told by the EPA that anything over 4, I'm going to suffocate and die. Right? So this is what's going through these people's minds. They don't fully understand everything about it. So let's get in and be part of the conversation, or your competitor will. Right? So it's a race. You have spent so much money getting that person to call you. If we don't know one of these goals that's not on here, I'm just thinking of, you should know how much your cost per acquisition costs. So you need to know how much that lead costs you to get, and you should have it tattooed on your forehead. So when you look in the mirror, put it high so you can wear a hat and hide it. But you should know all the time how much money you are spending for every lead. And so if you spend $100 in order to get a customer and it generates a $1,500 or $2,500 mitigation, that's fantastic. That's a great acquisition cost. But if you stop answering those phone calls and that number goes up to $150 or $200 or $300 to acquire a customer, isn't it more fun when it costs $25 to get a customer? That's just money in your pocket, right? So we want to answer our leads faster. That's one potential goal here. How about fewer failures? I think that if you're in these groups, if you are watching these videos, you are privy to information. You have David. You have his cell phone number. He loves taking calls at 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm just going to put that out there into the universe. But yeah, no, you can. And yeah, those of you, in Alaska, you can just call him whenever. Just you get off of work at 5 or 6 o'clock at night. You just pick up that phone. He's probably you might stop him from busting up a water line, so you'll help him out. But so what are the things that are causing failures? Last week, man, we were talking about dewatering systems, and we talked about putting a suction point in the middle of the room because you've got all that communication you're pulling from the dewatering. And that was an aha moment, I know, for a lot of you last week when you saw that and we talked about that. So what are the things that are causing you to go back? What are the things that are causing you to lose time and do extra work? That should be and again, you should also know, what is that number? I'm going to do 100 jobs this month or this year, and I'm going to do 1,000 jobs this year. What's my failure rate? And then, okay, now what are the things that are causing those failures? And so when we start putting those things, I want to figure out how to solve that. How about better organization? I know that a lot of you guys are, you guys are, let's get our hands dirty and let's go out and get some and do the work. And you're not necessarily, hey, I'm going to be, I know where every file is filed. I know where every email that's coming in and it's going out. David had Sue. Opposites attract, right? So you need to have somebody in your life that is that person for you, and is managing your organization in a way that you're able to make sure that people are being called back, that things are being filed on time, that you're ordering supplies, so you're never waiting on supplies because you didn't get that ordered. So what is it inside your business that you have? Maybe you make a QR code in your truck and you're getting low on Ferncos, and all you have to do is scan that QR code and it sends an email to David Smith and says, send me 10 Ferncos. So what are those things that can keep you better organized? And we could dig into that, right? And a lot of these things are are pain points for a lot of you, and the sooner that that we when we're humble and we say these are things that we struggle with, these are things that I could do better, then we start having then there's a room for growth, right? I like this one. How about I just want jobs that are closer to home, right? I'm in order to get business, I'm driving 90 miles each way. I'm losing 3 hours of my day just getting to a job. That's killing me. So I'm gonna do something that gets me closer to home. Some of you are driving 3 hours and 4 hours and 5 hours to get to jobs because there's money there. I'm gonna go do it. When you go, okay, listen, what if it's a job that's 2 hours away. What if you instead spent those 4 hours doing some business building things and some marketing things, and you spent that time really cultivating and nurturing those leads that are closer to home? That goes back to where I want to have more time. I want to have my Saturdays available because I'm not driving all over. Hey, if I'm going to drive 2 hours each way, I'm going to lose 4 hours, and I'm going to take a crew with me. We're going to charge twice as much. And if we get it, then it's worth it, and everybody gets a bonus, and it's just extra money. And so don't ever drive in the amount of time that you could do another job. You drive 2 hours there, 2 hours back. That's 4 hours that you could have done another job in town, not paid the gas, not paid the wear and tear on your truck. So this is our first hey, anybody that's actually paying attention, what are some other things that are in your business that you think that you could improve from? Anybody want to shout out a something?
Calls sooner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes it's 3 or 4 days.
That'll kill you. I wrote a couple notes as Ben was speaking, and Ben and I spoke about this, but we don't want to be giving these presentations based on the fact that everybody's got the money to do what they would like to do in terms of hiring someone like Ben to manage their website, to buying $100,000 worth of inventory, to all the things. I want everybody here to know. I went through plenty of time when it was either buy a fan or feed the kids. So I started low, but you can build your business no matter what level you're at. It doesn't cost you any money to go do a presentation at a realty office or a VFW or anybody else you can talk to, and it doesn't cost you much money to do bids in person. Ben covered this in one of our other talks, but there's a lot of things. Carry props in with you. I always said that I never went in without a viewport. Carry props in with you, but the most important thing in today's world is better reviews. But I want everyone to know that you can start. First, you got to look in the mirror and say, what do I want to do with Radon? You've got to give yourself that honest look in the mirror. But you can build your business from any level, and I don't want anyone that may be listening to this to think, well, I don't even know why I'm participating because I don't hardly have the money to buy 3 fans, and they're talking above my position. You need to put yourself in that position. But no matter where you start from, there are ways to build your business. Number one is the quality of work to get the reviews, but there's ways to do presentations and do different things that don't require an investment of money, that put you in a position where you can do the things that you'd like to do with websites and other techniques that are going to help you. So I just wanted to throw that out, that I don't want anybody to think that we're speaking above their head, because I, for one, have been there. And I was there for some time, and I did the 7 days a week thing. But I was there in the early days of Radon too, when it was a little bit different than it is now. So that's all I wanted to throw out there, along with what Ben's been saying.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the fact is that If you guys have ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, he owns a marketing agency and does a lot of motivational speaking stuff online. One of the things he talks about is you got to eat crap before you can eat caviar, right? So you got to work in the clouds before you can be in the dirt, or you got to be working in the dirt before you can be in the clouds. And that means that there is nothing that I'm ever going to tell you in, maybe some of the software type stuff, but there's nothing that I'm going to tell you that you can't do on your own. And I said this earlier, but I really want you to, like, if one thing gets through, we talk about that we sell time. Almost any business, any service, anything, we all sell time. That is the commodity that we sell. We sell, for instance, everyone can drywall their basement, right? They can tape and mud their own basement. You're not going to do it really well if you've never done it before, right? So if you go, I'm not going to pay anybody. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to drywall my basement. I've never done anything like it before. I'm going to have to watch 100 YouTube videos on how to drywall a basement. I'm going to go out to, Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot and ask the guys there, which mud to buy, which, should I be using fiber tape or, I saw one person talking about this, what do I do for corners? And I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a disgusting job taping and mudding my, and then after I've put 8 times too much mud on, I'm going to find out what it means to sand, right? And so I'm going to learn how to do that, and I'm going to make a huge mess doing that. Or I could pay $5,000 for somebody to come in and do it in a weekend, and from the time they hang the drywall to the time that it's ready for paint, right? Now, I saved myself all that money, or I could pay somebody to do it. And let's talk about tools that you could do to buy back time. Sticking with the drywall analogy, you got the guys that are hand sanding, right? Or you buy the new sander that has the vacuum attachment and, no mask needed, no mess. It's, these are all the tools. You can hunt and peck with your core drilling, or you could buy the diamond core drill attachment for your, everything we do is time. I'm selling time. You guys can figure out how to design your own websites. You can learn how to send out your own things and get your own AdWords and send out your own, get your own, but we sell time. And when we talk about what do we want out of our business, we talk about this a lot, whether you have, do you have a lifestyle business, which means I am working a job that pays for my lifestyle and nothing more. I like making $75,000 a year. I've got a job that pays me that. Or are you building a business that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or 1 year from now, that you can sell that business for $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 or $1 million? And so now we're building not just a lifestyle business, we're building something that has, the business itself has a value that you can sell. And so that's my desire for all of you guys, is that you build something that has a value, or at the very least that you could go on that European vacation that your spouse wants you to go on that you're going to hate. And the whole time you're there, your business is just still making money while you're gone, and it's able to continue while you're gone. So we're looking at like that may be the goal that you guys have. The goal may be, I want to build a business that doesn't need me, or I want to have a business that operates if I break my back and I can't go out and do a job. I am 40 years old or 50 years old, or I'm 60 years old, and 5 years from now I don't want to be doing this anymore, and so I need to build something that does that. David's got the playbook for building a business and exiting out of it and getting again the very first time. I think this is the first time I met David. We were doing a seminar, and he was up there talking about, and this is 10 years ago, right? We were doing a seminar, and he was talking about, well, when I'm in, I'm in the basements and I'm in the crawl spaces and when I'm in the attics, and Dan, his foreman, sitting up there giving him dirty looks the entire time. And finally David just stopped and he's like, okay, I got it. Yes, Dan's looking at me because I haven't been in an attic or crawl space for 5 years, right? Because he had built a business that allowed him to go around and do estimates and send the crew out to do the jobs. He could be there. He could talk to the homeowner. He's the face of the company, but it operated without him. And that's even more, predominant when you look at the fact that he was able to sell that business and that portion of his business, and that it was a machine that kept turning as soon as he was gone, immediately. So, are there still things that he could jump in and answer questions and do things and stuff like that? Absolutely, but maybe that is the goal that you're looking at. So, anybody have any other goals that are that you have for your business, or maybe they're not for you, or things that people should be working towards?
Well, I personally like the idea I assume I'm in multiple businesses, but the whole approach to the real estate industry, because like I said, and I think you guys are a little bit different, a lot of our work comes from the real estate industry. But the problems we're having up here is those guys who are we call them Harry the Handymans, or, the know-it-all, do-it-all, do-it-wrong guys. They're also going to the realtors. And that creates a headache when you're there. So I guess my thought is you have to bring like credentials, or you have to bring documentation to prove your presentation that you're giving to them is factual, not my personal ideas or opinions or feelings. It's the industry. It's how this industry works, and it's what industry guidelines and standards say needs to be done. So just going there empty-handed doesn't. I think David was talking about something to do with props and things like that you bring in. Yeah, that information has to be present that you can give to them, so that you can state your point and prove your point.
Well, the frustration is in the fact that you really get the feeling that they don't care. How many times I've been in this business over 26 years. So 2 comments I'd make is, it's always discouraging, because how many times have I had them stop me in the middle of trying to tell them about the effects of radon, and them saying, all I'm caring about is the cheapest price. I don't want to hear anything else. And that was always, that was a hurtful thing to hear. I just didn't think it was, it bothered me to hear that, because I knew enough about the effects of radon that I had to believe in it, or I wouldn't have been in the business.
Yeah.
So I think the other thing I wanted to say is, when I got into it 26 years ago, they keep pretty good records, at least in the state I'm in. And I think it was 91 or 92% of the radon that was being done was during a real estate transaction. It was really high. It was 91 or 92%. But by the time I left, it was slightly below 70%. And I knew that from the day I started. I thought, if we can make people, a certain amount of the people believe in the effects of radon, then all of a sudden we can get away from the real estate situation, where the people that are doing it for their own family or for their own health are not going to be quite as price conscious as they are going to be the reviews, the quality, the discussion that you give them. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the pie charts that I thought were so valuable that were presented in our Illinois presentations. I think I got them today, but I would go into to any kind of a situation, including a presentation to a realty group, a VFW, any group I could do, and I'd be passing this stuff out. Because when I stood up there with the pie chart and I started saying, look at this pie chart I got, where it says, for instance, in Illinois, it says 71% of your radiation exposure is due to radon, and only 11% to CAT scans. So if I could stand up there and say that, and I would say, this is true, folks. This is not something I just printed up to come here. Then they would have something to visually look at while I was up there saying that. But it's also something that I could take to a bid and give to the consumer and say, hey, I'm going to give you a couple copies of this. Would you mind sharing this with your neighbor? Didn't cost me anything to print it, but these are some of the little things we had to do in the old days. But not to get too carried away, I want Ben to have this this portion, but I will say that I was waiting for that number to go down, and every time that percentage drops from the original 91 to 92%, if it's down to 69 or 70%, that's worth a whole bunch to all of us, and it can't do anything but keep going down. It's never went up, it's always dropped. So just remember that, because we have to earn the right for people to believe in it. Also, I always preach the quality of workmanship, because the things that you're talking about to try to keep the people that aren't qualified from doing it. I think that one of the frustrating things for me is I live in a difficult area to do, and a lot of us do. And so many times a person will come in and do the work, and the number still not be there. And if there isn't a good response to that, and an honest way to come back and say, I got to make this right, then it ruins the reputation of the industry. So, we have to keep the reputation of the industry positive to keep that number going down as fast as it can. And as soon as it gets to 50%, I'm retiring. But just kidding. But I have seen there's a whole bunch of difference between 91% and 70%, a whole bunch of difference, and it opens up a lot more doors. But the conversation that you started there by saying, unqualified people doing the job, some of the people that are associated with getting a radon system done are still looking for the cheapest price possible. What I tell people is that's the same discussion that I had on the very first day I started doing radon. And I think it's going to be the same discussion on the last day I'm doing radon. So it's never changed, and I'm not sure it will. We just have to do what we can to defeat it. And the best way to do that is with getting good reviews, as Ben says, getting good reviews, and you get good reviews by doing quality work. And you think that that 31% of people that are doing it for their own family's health, they're not going to hire that person. They simply are not going to hire them. So there you go. You're getting started on it. You in Alaska there, just keep it up, and it'll happen. The way you guys are working there, you'll gain 2%, 3% every year, because you're building the reputation. If I was 30 years younger, I'd love to be up there watching it happen, because I think it's going to be really neat to see the progress Alaska makes in the belief of the effects of radon. And Ben's going to make these, I think there's 2 or 3 pie charts we have printed out, or have the ability to, am I right, Ben?
Yeah, we've got
So,
those. We could put them
yeah.
probably on your website, so people can grab them and have access to them for sure. And we've got a resources section on the David Smith Radon website that we can throw those up on for people that want that. But yeah, it's Pat, to go a little bit further on that. I do think it's clout too, right? So when you come in with reviews, when you have the when you have a, if you've done stuff with your local, lung association, or with different groups, or if you have that clout behind you, then then they need to listen to you. But we can't forget that we're in an industry that is, it's people are not necessarily, I mean, obviously there are people that are doing it for their, their own health and safety, but I work, one of the other industries I work in is, like garage floor coatings, right? The epoxy floor coatings. These are $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, jobs that people are doing because they want their garage floor to be prettier, right? And so we're in an industry, that people are not doing it because, I just really want that radon system in my house. It's like doing a roof, right? It's no one is just sitting around going, I want to spend that money on this thing. And so when you're working with realtors who are always going to be looking for that cheapest thing, and I've always said business models, right? McDonald's, Chili's, Ruth Chris Steakhouse. McDonald's is really, really profitable. You can provide great service and cut back on some of the things that you do, and go just strictly for volume, and get fans in houses. If you're bringing it down, but you're gonna have to cut somewhere, right? If you would normally, like around here, if you would normally take the time to go through the attic and cut through the attic and do so that the fan is in the attic and it's cleaner and it's a nicer install, you may be putting the fan outside every single time now because you've got to cut that time back because you're going to run that McDonald's business model. So just don't do it where you're not actually improving the health and safety of the family, but there is a business model where you just work your fingers to the bone and are getting every one of those cheap jobs because they're out there. And I'm not saying that you should lower the industry. I think you should charge what it takes for you to feed your family and your crews and take care of everybody and earn a profit. And so that's important. But it may be you're going for volume, and that's a tough pill to swallow, but it is, you can make money with it. So, all right, we're getting close to 4 here. I'm gonna pick up the pace and put us back into where we're at. Those are some potential ideas, some goals. If you happen to be watching this on Facebook or YouTube later, throw it in the chat. Tell us what some other goals that you can do and things that in your business, specifically, obviously in the radon business, what you can do. So let's keep going here, and I think this is important when we're talking about goal setting. I need to know what's stopping you from reaching these goals. What is standing in your way from reaching the goal that you want? So what are the things that that keeps you from reaching the goal? Did you set an unattainable goal? And we talked about this earlier. Did you say, I'm currently doing 400 mitigations a year and I want to do 5,000 a year? Okay, well, that's probably unobtainable. It might be obtainable if you have the money to spend to make that happen, right? So if you say I'm going to go from 500 to 5,000, I'm going to have to make a significant investment in getting 6 or 8 trucks, on my team. I got to hire a crew, and I've got to run ads so that I get every single job that's coming in. So we'll see you, Pat. Thanks for coming in. So we want to make sure that we have an obtainable goal. And then, do you have everything you need to reach the goal, right? So if that goal is, I want to respond to jobs fast or to leads faster, okay? What is stopping you from doing that? Is that that you don't have a virtual assistant, or you don't have somebody who is is able to do the work if you're trying to take more jobs. If you don't have a truck that's capable of driving more than 30 miles without breaking down, right? So it's you're going to lose all that stuff. And then we're going to say, have we identified what may keep you from succeeding? What do you need to change about yourself or your business to reach your goal? This is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. So maybe you are a a night person and you like to stay up late and you like to get started at 10 in the morning on your jobs, but those calls are coming in at 8 a.m. Or maybe, that's the time when it's quiet, and that's the time when you're going to answer your phone calls, and that's the time when you're going to send the emails out, because those emails came in at 4 o'clock, the day before, and you waited 24 hours to get back to them. So what are those things that you need to change? And this is where you got to be really honest with yourself. And this is an important one as well. And are you prioritizing your goals? The number one thing that I see, I've worked with so many businesses who do not have $500 a month to spend on Google Ads or to put towards marketing or to put towards, training, but they are driving a $90,000 truck. And I go, do you not understand that you are stopping yourself from meeting your goal? You have no room to complain that the job that you're not getting leads in, you're not getting, you can't get calls, you don't have money for marketing, but you are spending $1,500 a month on a truck payment. That is literally the number one thing I see, and not just, Radon guys. These are landscaping and other businesses. And they're like, well, the truck helps me get to where I'm going. I'm like, yeah, but if you were really, truly honest with yourself, and I'm talking about truly honest with yourself, you know that you can get yourself a $7,500 beat up pickup truck that you get to the job. And when you see a guy pulling into Menards or Home Depot or Lowe's with that $7,500 pickup truck, if I'm just going to the parking lot and I'm looking for a guy that I can bring back to my house, and I know that he can help me frame up my house, do my plumbing, fix my electrical, and probably put a new roof on, I'm looking for the guy in the $7,500 pickup truck, because that guy he has earned it, and he is now. Should you be in that pickup truck your whole time? No. I want to make sure that maybe you're not prioritizing your goals of setting money aside and having some nice things because you're working super hard. But we know Dave Ramsey talks about the big hat, no cattle, they say in Texas, right? So when you have a big hat and no cattle, it's big truck, no business, right? So I want you to have the nice things. I want you to drive the nice cars. I want you to have the best tools, and I want you to, but if I can get you a truck that can get you there, and you can put that more money towards buying ads, so you get more leads, and you're not sitting around on a Thursday afternoon, that's what I want for you. I want you to have that. I want you to make more money so that you can have the nice things, and you go on the vacations, and you can do the stuff. We all know those people that are the multimillionaires that you would never know based on the way they dress and based on the car they drive. That's what I want for those salt of the earth people. That's what I want for you and for your business. So we set goals, we outline them, we set a time. They were measurable. We could obtain them. Everything was possible. And then we failed. Something happened, and we didn't hit that goal. Now what? Where do we go on from here, right? I want you to change your mentality from thinking that you failed to thinking that you did not fail. You just haven't reached that goal yet. It is okay if we move those goalposts. It is okay if we get up, we dust ourselves off, we lick our wounds, and we say, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to keep going. And maybe my goal was to double my business, and I got 50% more year over year than I was the year before. That is a success. It is not the level that you wanted it to be, but you go, okay, what did I do that generated that extra income? I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at those things. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to audit people who didn't hire me. I'm going to find out who they did hire, and I'm going to ask them why. That's a tough conversation, right? And if it comes down to it's just money, it's just money, it's just money, and you find out that, you know, they paid $100 or $200 or $300 less for you than someone else, or for someone else instead of you, that was not a money decision. Not on a $1,500, $1,800, $2,000, $4,000 job. That is something you didn't do. Now that they're maybe not honest with you, and they say, "Oh, you didn't call us back." So we got to look at all those things, and that even talks about the people who like you and say, "Hey, I want you to tell me one thing I did great and one thing that I could improve on, because I am trying to make myself better every single day." And humility leads to growth. We're going to look at the 4 R's in a failure. We're going to review the goal. Okay, was the goal something that can actually be obtained? Was it something that we could actually do, or is it impossible? Was I trying to go from 500 mitigations to 5,000 in a year in a town of 4,000 people? Okay, right? That's not a goal that can work. But we look at it and we go, okay, this is obtainable. I want to review it. I want to reevaluate the goal. I want to see what else I can what else I can do to change it so that it is something that I can succeed. I'm going to redefine it if I have to. I'm going to change it. I'm going to say, hey, maybe I doubled my work, but my net only went up by 10%. So I've got twice as many problems with a 10% gain of, in my pocket of profit. So I'm going to redefine that goal. And then I'm just going to re-engage the entire process. I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure that it's something that I can do, and something that I'm making sure I'm going through the right steps on the way. This is important. We want to hold yourself accountable, and that may be that is holding yourself accountable. That may mean that you need to have someone else hold you accountable. That may be in this group. You're going to put it out there in the Facebook group or in our call, and you're going to say, it's June 7th, and by the end of summer, we're going to call the end of summer, September 1st, August 31st. I'm going to have a better July and a better August than I did last year. I'm going to go back and really look at those numbers. I did, on average, 100 mitigations in each of those months, and I want it to be 125. I want to see a 25% increase. Totally obtainable. But we're going to hold ourselves accountable so that, hey, I'm halfway through July and I'm not seeing those numbers come in. What do I need to do differently? I want to make sure that you're creating a goal that you celebrate your wins. So if you're trying to double the size of your business, when you get to 25%, year over year, quarter after quarter, 50%, let's celebrate those wins. Let's bring your family and your friends and people, and they know that you're celebrating those accomplishments along the way. I said this before. We want to make sure that you or someone else is holding you accountable. I want to celebrate those wins along the way. I like setting multi-stage goals. So if this, then that, right? I've got, as I just said, I want to increase in. We're finishing up quarter 2, so we're getting ready to go into quarter 3. And in quarter 3, I want to have a 25% increase. And if that happens, then I'm going to take that increase in profit, and I'm going to put that towards quarter 4, where we're typically slower. And I want to make sure that I'm going to take my cash and I'm going to put it into Google Ads so I can have a bigger quarter 4, which will set me up for quarter 1 of 2025. So I want to have multi-stage goals that I can say, if I'm able to do this, then I'm going to buy that truck, right? Or I'm going to celebrate with these different things along the way. This is really, really important. If you have a crew, if you have a team, you want to make sure that they're not only on board, that they are part of the plan, the execution, and most importantly, the celebration. This is not just your money. this is work for your guys. If your guys are doing, let's say you're doing 10 mitigations a week, and you want to jump it up to 15, and that means these guys are going to have to work some overtime. Are you having a conversation with your guys? Are they okay with that? Are they on board? Are they excited about that overtime? And if they are, then let's talk about the execution. They say, hey, listen, we got a lot of new construction that we're doing. We can get started on that at 7 in the morning instead of 8 or at 6:30. It's going to be light out at 6 a.m. Do you guys want to work from 6 to 6 and do 12-hour days? And in 4 hours of those days, I'm going to be paying you overtime. And so that's going to be something that is going to change, hopefully, for them if they're excited about that. Or say, hey, listen, last year we did 1,000 mitigations. This year we want to do 1,500. If we do 1,500 mitigations, I'm going to give everybody a paid week off. Right now, these guys are bought in. That is exciting to them. They've got something. Or what are those? When we talk about multi-stage goals, we go, how is it along the way? If in order to get 1,500, that sounds a lot like I've got to do 375 per quarter, but we know that maybe it's more in quarters 2 and 3. So we're going to have some check-ins. Hey, if we hit 500, or 500 mitigations in quarter 2 or quarter 3, I'm going to give everybody, $5,000, right? You guys are just going to get a $5,000 check. If we hit it quarter 2, everybody gets a $2,000 check. If we're able to do it back to back, quarter 2, quarter 3, instead of getting a $2,000 check, I'm going to give you a $3,000 check. You're going to get $5,000, and that means that when you guys get done with the job, we've got these door hangers, and I want you guys to canvass the neighborhood, and everybody takes a quick walk, hanging door hangers with their name and number saying that we're mitigating homes in this area that have high radon. You should give us a call. That is an extra 20 minutes of work from your team that may generate 2 or 3 or 4 calls in that neighborhood that you've already been to and they could say, hey, you can talk to your neighbor. They can vouch for us, and they could tell you how we did. That kind of thing where your guys you're bought in, they understand the value of investing that extra time. Comedian Mitch Hedberg, one of my favorite jokes, he said, I used to have a paper route. I either had to go to 500 homes or 2 dumpsters, right? Because he would just take the papers and throw them in the dumpster and tell them that they all got delivered. So if your guys know that there's a value to going to house after house after house and telling people about radon and answering questions, and they know the importance of the review so that they're at the house and they're talking to the homeowner and they're asking for that review and they see the benefit for that. Maybe you guys are challenging them. If you get 20 reviews in a month, then I'm going to give you $100 or $500 or something, because reviews are cheaper than buying Google AdWords. So you can have a $50 a day budget for Google AdWords and spend $1,500 a month, or you can get those reviews from your guys and give them a bonus for getting a certain number of views. So that kind of stuff matters. So we want your guys to be part of the plan, the execution, and especially the celebration. Take good care of your guys. If you have people working for you. And if you don't, then this is something that you should be thinking about. How can I get somebody in there part-time to help me and learn so that, they're able to speed up my process. We can get more jobs out there. I can lose a little bit of my profit for a bit, and I can go out there and get more work moving forward. So one of my favorite websites from 10 years ago, there used to be a website called Awkward Family Photos, and they would go back and they would find all those photos that people took in the mall in the 80s, and they would post them, and they look like this. And so this is the awkward silence time, where I say, who in here wants to take a second and say, okay, this is the thing that I want to do. I'm gonna set this goal. And it's June 7th, and by July 1st or September 1st or by the end of the year, I'm gonna do something that's really gonna, change my business. It's gonna change, what I'm doing. So does anybody want to take the and in the group be held accountable so that we can both help you, and that's what this is for, but also cheer you on and come up with, we're not going to come up with ways right now because it's, our time's up, but that's what this is for, is to help out. So this is it. Anybody have, something that they want to do in their business? That's why we call it awkward silence time. It's working well. We have a small group today, so I figured, may or may not see anybody jump on here and have something, but maybe next week, when we start next week, maybe have something set aside that is, that's a goal for next week. But I also want to say this, last but not least, we're halfway through 2024. I want to see you guys have some crazy big, ridiculous goals for 2025. So let's have some goals for this year, things that you can do to improve. And I want to have something you can, like I said, when we're talking about those multi-stage goals, what is the thing that you have that you still want to accomplish this month, next week, right? What is the thing I'm going to do next week? I'm going to go back and I'm going to call 5 of my customers who I know really love me, and I'm going to suck it up, and I'm going to ask them for a review on Google and try to get that review from them. So that is the kind of thing that you can do this week. That's something you can still do today, and you can make those phone calls. What are you going to do for this month? What are you going to do for this year? But next year, like, if you go, oh, okay, I've averaged 200,000 or 300,000 or 500,000 a year in our business, and next year I want to do $1 million. Maybe that's the goal for 2025. In 2025, I'm going to do $1 million. We got to break that down. We got to say, okay, what does that look like? If I know that 80% of my work comes from March to November, then I've got to divide that $1 million out, by 800,000, and I've got to divide it by those months, and I've got to know that I'm generating that kind of revenue in those months. And you go, okay, well, what does it take to make that happen? And you go, well, every time I run ads on Google Ads, or every time I put money into my marketing, it generates more leads. I got to make sure I have the people in place for it. So you got 6.5 months to set yourself up for 2025. Your goal for the rest of this year may be positioning yourself for that huge, ridiculous goal that you want in 2025. And so you will spend the next 6 months getting yourself ready for that. And I will tell you that there's always some things that are going to happen along the way that if you're trying to hit one goal, other things happen as well. When you start exercising, you start losing weight, you start feeling better about yourself, but you also sleep better, right? So sleeping better was not on your list of goals, but it's a fringe benefit of the other goals. So when you go, hey, listen, I'm gonna stay more organized. I'm gonna take every job, and I'm gonna have files and folders and things and everything I need in order to be organized. And you go, okay, well, that's cool. That's the fringe benefit of that. May free up time for you to do other stuff, because you're not spending all your time looking for junk in your office, or where stuff is. So all these have side benefits and side things that you can, it changes your your whole life. I will tell you that in my agency, we're trying to put on five more businesses this month, still in the month of June, that we're going to onboard 5 more businesses. And so I can either do more marketing, I could spend more money getting out in front of people, I can pick up the phone, I can cold call. But one of the things that we're doing in our agency is people that have been on the fence, I'm going back and I'm talking with them, and we have an onboarding fee, because there's a lot of stuff that we do up front when we get your website ready and your socials and all that stuff. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of organizational stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm waiving that fee for those 5 businesses in the month of June for the rest of this month. And so that's going to save some of my new clients the opportunity of not paying that. It's that extra little kick of motivation to jump on and be part. But it's also something I'm okay with eating that fee, because it's gonna set both me up and those businesses up for success, because everybody's happy. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm doing in order to move myself for that goal that I've set in this month. And sometimes you do that the emergency goal, and you go, okay, well, I've gotten in my case, I've gotten 4 out of the 5 that I wanted. There's a week left. What do I got to do, right, to make that happen? You have to be careful, because there's a difference between trying to hit a goal and being desperate. And so it's not like, oh, hey, I'm going to throw in the first 3 months of service just so I hit that arbitrary goal. Don't devalue the thing you're doing. So, and we talked about this. Don't just try to do it for cheap. But I can eat some of my profit in order to grow my business and my agency and help some other businesses to hit that goal. And really what I'm doing is I'm allocating my time that I would be cold calling, dialing, sending out things or paying for ads, because I know what my acquisition cost is, and I'm moving that so it's a way to benefit the businesses and the people that I'm working with. So you can do that in your spot, and you can say, hey, listen, we're gonna run a deal on mitigation, and if you're flexible with the time that we come, we knock off $200. So we don't know when we're going to be in your area. It's probably going to be in the next month, but as long as you're willing to be flexible, and this is when your schedule's already packed, right? Or you use that as a tool to go, hey, listen, we're I always tell people it's like Minority Report when he's moving all the stuff, or A Beautiful Mind when he's got all the stuff on the wall, right? So we're like, that's scheduling mitigations all over town, and so hey, we appreciate our clients that are flexible. We're going to offer a $200 off if you're flexible, and we can call you and be like, hey, we're going to be there on Thursday at 1:00. We're going to give you at least 24 hours notice, but we just, if you're flexible, we're going to do that. And then maybe your schedule's not full, and you wait 3 days to call them back, and you say, hey, listen, I was able to get that in there, and you go and you do the job, and you missed out on $200. But that may have been that thing that got that person over the, or if you're bidding out 2 different films on crawl spaces, you have a cheap film and a nice film. What's your difference in cost on that? The installation time is the same. What's your difference in cost? If it's $100, $200, whatever that is, can you say, listen, I'm going to offer you $100 off I'm going to upgrade you to the nicer film. It's easier when we have businesses that we have upgrades and things and stuff that we can do. But these are the things that we can do to help meet those goals in the early time. And I'm telling you, if you want to grow your business, getting in front of more people, whether it's in realtors, lunch and learns, getting in front of people in local Facebook groups, getting in front of people by canvassing neighborhoods when you're out there, It's just doing more jobs will generate more business, because when somebody is getting, they have a high radon test, or they hear about radon, or somebody posts about it on Facebook, they're going to ask their friends, hey, who did you have? Oh, I had this great company. This may be, hey, one of my goals is I'm going to get cards printed up with my, postcards printed up with my business name on it. And I'm going to hand write, a thank you card, or a 6 month later card, or the address of the houses that you've mitigated, and you send a postcard out telling them that the average fan lasts 5 to 7 years, and yours is 10 years old. So if you haven't replaced it, you need to make sure it's working. We can help. So some of that generating revenue, stuff that you can do, it's out there. It's an option. So you guys stuck around with it. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have. If anybody has any last minute goals or things or ideas that they want to throw out into the universe and make it their goal, I'm here for it. I am here to be, your accountability buddy. I know that when you have somebody to go to the gym with you, it is way easier than it's hard to not go. So I'm here. David's here. We want to see you guys succeed. And like I said, that's it for today, unless anybody's got anything else, last minute stuff. And I don't think anybody does. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you sticking around with it, coming in on the boring business topics versus fun toys and stuff that you get to play with in your mitigation business. But this stuff does matter. It'll change your life. It'll change your business. And that's what we're here for. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. And we appreciate you. Thanks.